From my own personal experience, it was crying in my sleep, nightmares, hearing sirens. Now these could you know, if I was a veteran, it could be a banger going off or a flare going up. But for me, it was hearing sirens, which would put me back into that position where I was when, that caused all these things, that caused this terrible disorder. We call it sort of bonfire night, but I think in all fairness, it's bonfire week or bonfire month, because the fireworks are on sale, quite early, so people can get hold of them, children get hold of them, from unscrupulous dealers or whatever, let's face it, it does happen, and it's exciting, isn't it? You've got this thing in your hand and you fire it and you set fire and off you go and you run away and it goes bang and it's a good laugh and all the rest of it. But the impact of that, on some unsuspecting person who's suffering from PTSD or, as I said, has got all the symptoms running up to PTSD could trigger that event off, So that one small firework, which is a great mirth, amongst who you're with, has now set this unsuspecting individual into a complete nightmare. You become withdrawn within yourself. You don't want to communicate with anybody. You're scared. You're extremely tense all the time. Your anxiety levels are going through the roof. There's a whole list of symptoms, some people react differently to it. Some people can become aggressive, some people can be just, like I said with myself, was just withdrawn. You don't want to go out, and it got to a point where a member of the local mental health team came into my home, and she stood there and she said, your whole house has become your prison. This is your prison. Can you imagine the impact that being locked down in your own home because you're so hyper-vigilant, your anxiety, you're scared, to go out because you don't want to go anything to trigger off an attack. You've got your pride and everything else that goes with that. Can you imagine what that's like for 5, 6, 7 years? And it does happen, it does happen. Just be careful. Becoming sort of regress within themselves, start to become quite anxious, not wanting to come into work, not wanting to get out of bed, very hypervigilant. That's awareness around themselves, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, you just can't get out of bed. As I said, you're starting to panic, you're crying, your nightmares, reliving certain events, traumatic events. And it doesn't necessarily have to start as soon as you get back home. It could be years down the line, grandparents, I don't know what triggers it. I've got no idea about the actual intricacies and the psychology behind it. I just know the effects, and how it can destroy your life, I think the best way really is if you know of somebody within your community or your brother, sister or wherever who served in combat, and are showing symptoms with this or have been diagnosed with PTSD, just tell them, this is what we're going to do on bonfire night. We're going to have this, and put support mechanisms in place for them. It's a simple case of picking up the phone, calling SAFA, and there's other, organisations out there, and we can talk you through it, and and give you a bit of, there's a lot of empathy, with us, because a lot of us are veterans. We've all been there, and just share that, and I think that would help a hell of a lot, to be honest with you, or ask you to refer yourself to your GP, and your GP will then refer you to the NHS mental health team, and say, look, I've got problems. This is what's happening to me. You won't get boo-hooed. You will not be shoved out the door and told to grow up and go away. Okay, people are there to help you, and that's what will happen.